then second slide. So I talk about my first deal that I ever did.
Yeah.
And I talk about the mentality of confidence. You know, like working with James and Garrett, you get that when you're buying, it's nice to have money just stacked up, ready to buy, right?
Yeah.
So how do you do that for yourself? How do you get your headspace ready so that you feel like you can buy anything, open yourself up to opportunity? And then I tell a story about opening your eyes wider
Okay.
instead of buying just for yourself. As you know, buying for everyone is much more profitable than just hunting flips, right? If you
Yeah.
can get to it. So I talk about um, different types of apples to give them framework. Red apples retail, green apples rental, bruised apples flips. We cut it up, apple pie, and then apples on the ground. That's land, and people make applesauce out of that. We eat all of them, but what you do with the apple is important. So there's a big, probably like 10 or 15 minutes of. I pretty much did the whole thing, but that I can drag that out for 15 minutes. Then we're going back. Then we get into private marketing. So we're talking about speaking to the problem. Just that typically, if you can get into the dialogue that's already running in your customer's head, you're practically halfway there. Then we talk about gatekeepers, people who are blocking your marketing from getting to the actual owner of the house. Then we're going to talk about time versus money. So that's some people have money, some people have time.
Yeah.
And if you have time, then you probably are going to be doing your marketing yourself. If you have money, you're probably going to be spending it out. And then we're going to go into handling the call. So this is going to be inbound, just a nice little framework for people who are maybe afraid. There's going to be this is where that pamphlet comes in.
Yeah.
Then we're doing, then I have a basic framework for just walking through a house so that you don't blow it once you actually get in the house. And then just some basic mindset around what's called a lay down, which is generic traffic. At a certain marketing threshold, someone is just going to say, yes, I'll sell you my house. So we have to figure out what that is and how far we have to go. And then I have some examples of different type of marketing techniques, marketing pieces. So why do these work? And a couple of other things. Should be able to get back out of that. And then we're just going to talk about especially like things like the verbiage and things on these so people can get a better understanding of maybe why their marketing piece isn't hitting or why it is hitting and what they can do to double down on their pieces that they're doing, or even just start putting together some marketing. Some people just don't do any, right. Then coming back out, the last part is like quitting your day job, which means making it into a business. So we're going to talk about picking a marketing plan that works for your time and money. Some people have a day job that occupies the whole day and they can't really get out there. So they're probably going to need to they're probably going to have to pay someone to do that. Or if they've got a part-time job, they've got the time instead of the money probably to go out and actually do these things. Then we're going to talk about figuring out your budget, committing to that budget, because a lot of people are hot and cold with their spends on their marketing.
Yeah.
Another big thing is they don't track the results. So they're doing marketing, but they have no idea how many pieces they put out, how much they cost, what the result in return is. So we're going to talk about tracking, making sure that, as a deal hunter, that you're doing something every day. You're tracking your results and you're actually like at least a little bit of something. If you put 10 flyers out every day, it will work. It will take a long time, but it will work.
Yeah.
And then being ready to buy, meaning having your finances or whatever, however you intend to buy, whether it's a partnership or whatever, that you have that set up so that you can take action mentally and literally on these deals that are going to come in. Because if you're not ready, you might not write the offer, you might not take action because you don't feel like you're ready. So being ready before you get the lead and the listing. And then to make a real business, as you know, you got to start building a buyer's list, or at least networking like this club here with people to offload what isn't for you. Then I'm talking about generic conversions, just real quick, so people understand spend. So generic mail, unaddressed, 1%, direct 5. You're familiar with these numbers, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Call to action flyers, something unique, gets a little bit better, but they're more tricky to use. And then into the recap, just going over the 3 things again. You have to have that buyer mindset.
Yeah.
You have to understand the human nature that gets people responding to flyers, how many times it takes, and what type of verbiage, right? We talked about creating a sustainable effort. That's that last slide. So being realistic about your time and your budget. And then just some basic tips at the very end: human nature, body language, keeping it simple, talk less, smile more, win friends and influence people, the book. Practice human nature. I'll talk a little bit about that. Be like them, you know, with the Jets sweater, the Jets hat. And then that's it. We're going to go up to the Q&A.
Awesome.
So that should be at least half an hour to 40 minutes, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah. And the point isn't to drag it on, right? Like if you can deliver, I would prefer a speaker literally take 5 minutes to deliver like a super valuable, maybe it's like 5-step process of how to vet land, for example, versus somebody talking about how to look for land for 45 minutes. And they're like, well, you know, just dragging it on and talking about a bunch of surface level stuff. So for us and the community, it's really about the value and how much can people take away and how much can they apply today. And that's the big thing. So
yeah, I tried to focus a lot of it on what people could do. You know,
exactly.
There's a lot of mindset in here, but I think that marketing and private marketing especially is a mindset piece, because you're dealing with people who aren't really necessarily like us. They have problems that normal people don't necessarily experience.
Yeah.
So and then I'm trying to give enough takeaways in action and plans so that someone who hasn't done maybe any private marketing after this could just dive in a little bit and get into into doing it. So
can you go back to the quit your day job one? Where is it?
I'm just going back here.
And then okay.
You want to go into this one?
Then the marketing conversion. Because like I didn't even realize this. Like I actually didn't know this, surprisingly. So
yeah,
this is what
because you're not tracking your marketing.
I'm not, exactly, and that's going to be a takeaway.
So building a marketing tracker for costs, conversions, campaigns. So you're like, oh, I sent a piece of mail and I got a great conversion, but why? Okay, well, here's the demo piece, because in every marketing campaign I send one mail back to myself. So you look at the letter and you say, oh, this one hit really well. Well, the difference on this letter versus all of them was this is like a shiny foil star instead of a smiley face. And that small change in a marketing piece can actually change your conversion by 3 to 5%. So if you hit something really nice, but you don't know what you did, then it's kind of like baking cookies and you're throwing stuff together. It's like, oh, that's the best cookies I ever had. Well, enjoy them, because you don't remember how you did it. So that's the last cookie you're ever going to have like that.
Right.
And this is where you get these piece to conversion ratios. So generic mail, you see people putting those like single We Buy Houses flyers and stuff. They got to do piles and piles of them, 1,000 to get 10 calls.
Yeah.
Or is that 100 to get 1 call, 1,000 to get 10 calls. Like that's not a business I even want to be in. Like that's Canada Post stuff. Like get someone else to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have a marketing tracker too that I can probably get a picture of it in here so people can get an idea of what they need to be tracking.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I'll jam it in this slide here. At the bottom maybe, or I'll blow it up, or I'll make another little blowout thing. Do you like this animated?
Yeah, no, this is awesome. We're used to doing like PowerPoint slides type thing, so this is really.
Well, yeah, I mean, with everyone moving towards Zoom and all of the video conferencing. Yeah. Plus, I'm working on a course for buying, like for people to start out and go to the end. So I needed something that was a little bit more interesting that still had me as an overlay, so I can use the whiteboard whenever I need the whiteboard or whatever.